Hi, this tutorial is about creating accessible Word documents. We're going to be using Microsoft Word 2010. There are several ways to make documents accessible. We can do things like paragraph headings, providing descriptions for images, charts, and graphs and tables, identifying column headings and tables, and making phrases make sense to describe a hyperlink, and grouping items in lists. I'm taking a very simple syllabus and will be working to make this more accessible for students that are sighted and our non-sighted students who needs adaptive technology such as the JAWS reader. A JAWS reader is a screen reader and it does not see things. It makes distinguishing differences between sections based on how we use headings, bullets, things that are underlined like hyperlinks, and different things can be set up so the screen reader can easily navigate your syllabus or your page. As I mentioned, paragraph headings can provide context and a way to navigate the documents. So one thing that we're going to want to do is use headings based on a hierarchy or importance in the document. So the first thing we want to do is start with a heading that describes the overall content. So that will be heading 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. So this is the course's name. That would definitely describe the overall page content. So I could even say Blackboard Training Syllabus. Once I have the course name or whatever I want to use to start the heading 1, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on heading 1. Notice how that changed. Another thing that you can do right away when you're either working on a document that you've currently been working with or you're going to start from scratch is you can come over here to the styles and you can click on this little drop down triangle and go to fonts. And another really good accessible technique is to make sure that the font, in this case I'm going to select, let's see if I can select Verdana just so you can see the change. It's really important that you select a sans serif font. That's one that doesn't have the little legs, curlicue legs at the bottom. So let's see, I'm going to be looking, oh here it is, Verdana. So I'm going to change this document to Verdana so it is a sans serif font. And notice my font just changed. Now because of the subheadings, I'm going to use heading 2. So the rest of this document will be in heading 2 and 3. So I'm going to come over here and select this text and click on heading 2. And I can also right click and fix the paragraph. It must be multiple spacing. It is. So I'm going to change that. So hopefully you know a little bit about word processing and that can be very helpful. Okay, so now I have my heading 1 and my heading 2. And notice how already it's standing out. Now one thing I'm going to want to do down here is I'm going to want to make sure that my subheading, heading 2, is going to be for each of the sections of information that I really want to stand out. So this would be my heading 2. I'm going to come up here to the ribbon and under the styles I'm going to click on that, heading 2. And I might want to make these heading 3. They're a little bit not as important, and notice that I'm just selecting them, highlighting them, and then clicking on heading 3. And they're really my instructor information, aren't they? So once I get that all highlighted under heading 3, show you what I can do. Alright, so now it stands out. And so I have my instructor information, my office hours, class email, campus email, homepage, etc. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to bullet it, and notice how nicely that stands out. And I think not only will the screen reader be able to navigate through that very easily, our sight students will be able to see that a little bit more clearly. So then I have my course description. So hopefully you're thinking heading 2 for that one. And then underneath I might put some course goals as a heading 3. And again, I can also indent and bullet this if I wanted to. My course description. And here I'm going to just highlight that. And I'm going to bullet it this time and then indent it. And I can even indent it a little more if I wanted to. So you see how already this document is shaping up a little bit. Now the next thing I want to share with you is images. It's really important that we make sure that there is a description of the image. Images, charts, and graphs need to have a description, so if someone's unable to see them, they'll understand what they are and their purpose. So on this particular image, I'm going to move my mouse over and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to Format Picture. Now in 2010, this dialog box appears, and notice at the bottom I have Alt Text. Now you don't need to put a title, but what you do need to do is put a description. This will provide an alternative text-based representation of the information. So I could put a little bit longer description. I'm going to put an image of a world learner sitting down in front of a world map. Now it says descriptions of images should be limited to approximately 20 words or 120 characters. Now with charts and graphs, you might need to require and use longer explanation. Once I'm done with that, I can close that, and you will not see that description, but if a screen reader went over that portion of your document, it will read that back to the student. There might also be some times that you want to describe the image for the sighted students or for all of your students. In that case, you might want to put a caption. You would right click on the image again and insert caption. You can actually put in a new label if you like rather than figure 1, and then you could describe what this is. And then click OK, and then click OK. And there you have your caption, and you can actually take off the number 1 if you like. And of course I can center that, and I can center also the text, and then I can move this down a bit. Might want to center this here as well. Okay, so it's shaping up a little bit more to look like a syllabus. Okay, so what I would recommend to do when it comes to tables, one thing about tables, it's tricky because the screen readers read row by row across the columns. So that makes it very different when you're trying to do a table. You need to make sure it makes sense. So some of the things that are recommended if you're using a table is to make sure you have headings. When you have a table like this, you're going to want to right click on the table and choose Table Properties. Under the Alt Text tab, you can insert your description in the description area about the table, just like you did for the image. For column headings, screen readers will identify column headings for the table content if they're specified. So it's critical for understanding the table content for the screen readers and for those non-sighted students. So what you're going to want to do is click anywhere in the table and go to the Table Design tab right up here and check the header row checkbox. So what you could do is right here you'll be able to check that. And then you can type or retype your column headings and then click OK. One thing that I'm going to want to also change is the hyperlinks. They're often scanned by screen readers, so it's important to make sure they make sense without their surrounding content. For example, instead of this link right here saying http www.instructor, I should have a more descriptive words for it. So what I'm going to do is highlight it. Let me make sure I highlight just, oops, highlight this. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to edit my hyperlink. So I don't want to change the URL address right here, but what I do want to do is change the text to display and make it a little bit more descriptive so the screen reader and also the sighted students will know exactly where this link is going to take them. So I could say Melissa's web page and then I'm going to click on OK. Well, another thing that I might want to tell you about is the target frame. If you click on the target frame and you click on New Window, this will ensure Target Frame New Window. This will ensure that when your students click on any links that it's going to take them and it's going to open up a new window. So they'll still be in the document, but this will open up in a new window. And sometimes that's important depending on the document. So now it says Melissa's web page. So that makes more sense to a student than the HTTP. If they click on this right here, it will take them to my instructor's web page. The rule of thumb basically, and these are just some simple techniques that you can do, but if you use the techniques and the tools and the formatting tools in the ribbon, such as the style changes, headings 1, 2, and 3, you're using the bullets, the indents, the justification and the centering, and then also you can come over here and you can use some of the things that are built in, such as underline, italics. If you use these, for the most part, it's gonna help you to create an accessible document. One technique that I also think is very important and very useful for all students is the bookmarks. And one of the things that I believe that the bookmarks will help with is if you have a lengthy syllabus or any kind of document, if you make a table of contents at the top with bookmarks, you will have you will be able to create a navigational structure for students to be able to go directly to maybe a table with the assignments that are due, or perhaps that they've read the instructor information but they want to navigate straight to contact information. So having the bookmarks really helps to create a very easy to use and helps to create a very easy to navigate document. So let's do a couple of bookmarks together. Well, I will probably start with the bookmark right here. So you want to be able to click right before the text that you want to make a bookmark for. Notice the blinking cursor. And then I'm going to come up here to the Insert tab and I'm going to find Bookmark. So I'm going to click on Bookmark and I'm going to name my bookmark. So I can name it very simply. In fact, if you have more than one word, you cannot have any spaces in the name. You have to use an underscore. But for this one, it's very easy just to create the word instructor, because this is instructor information. I'm going to click the button Add. So that has added a bookmark. You don't see it, it's all in the code. So I'm going to go down and do a few more. I'm going to do a course description bookmark. Again, I'm clicking right before the name and I'm going to go up to the Insert tab and select Bookmark. And I'm going to name this bookmark Description. And I'm going to click on Add. Okay, there it is. Just wanted to make sure. Again, I'm scrolling down. And let's say I wanted to have the bookmark go to the library. So I'm going to click on Library and click on Bookmark, and then I'm going to create another bookmark name and add. And I can continue to go down the document to the certain headings and content, sub-content as well, that I would like to create bookmarks to. So it doesn't matter how many bookmarks you make. So this would be campus, and I'm going to use the underscore this time because I'm going to be naming it with 2 words, and I'm going to click OK. So we have a few bookmarks that are made. So now I'm going to come to the top of the document and I'm going to make a I'm going to make some hyperlinks, so when we click on this hyperlink, it'll take us directly to that bookmarked area. So I'll make the first one, instructor, and I can do these all at once, and I'm going to use a little line to make a division. So I'm going to say description. Let's see, what else did I do? Policy. Oh, I did library. That's right. I did library. And campus policy. Instructor description. Maybe I want to be a little more descriptive here in this navigational hyperlink area. So I have instructor, class description, library, and class policy. You'll probably have more, and how you set that up is up to you. I'm just going to use it horizontally, and I'm going to center it. So now I'm going to create my hyperlink. I'm going to come over here to instructor, and I'm going to highlight the word instructor, and then I'm going to come up here to the insert tab, and this time I'm going to choose the button hyperlink. Now notice I have a bookmark button right here. So I'm going to click on bookmark button, and notice all my bookmarks show up at the very bottom of this dialog box. So the first one is instructor, and I'm going to click OK and then click OK again. Notice after I did that, this is a hyperlink. It's underlined, and if I move my mouse over it, it will say Control click to follow the link. So let's just try it. Okay, so it moved the document up right to instructor information. So I'll do this again for class description. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to go up here to hyperlink, click on the bookmark button. This time I'm going to go here to my bookmarks, click on description, and you'll notice a pound sign that signifies that it's a bookmark. Click OK, and now I'm going to test this out. And there it went right to course description, and I can scroll up. Do this again for library, hyperlink, bookmark, look for my library bookmark, OK, OK, and now it's underlined, which means it's hyperlinked. I'll do one more, campus policy, go to the hyperlink button, bookmark, campus policy, click OK, click OK, and now I have a navigational structure on top, maybe similar to a table of contents, where the students can control click and move to that area. Notice the blinking cursor appears. Now, sometimes our documents are really long, and we can actually do a top of page. So I'll show you how to create this top of page, which will take you to the top. And you can actually do this anywhere on any page. It doesn't have to be at the very bottom. So let's just say I wanted to do one right here, and I can just put it right here, and I'm going to just center that. And you can even say something like back to top. That's fine. I'm going to highlight it. Now, you don't have to make a bookmark for this because there's already one built in. So I'm just going to highlight it, and this time I'm going to go to the Insert tab, Hyperlink. I am going to still click on the bookmark button, and I want you to notice I scroll up and there's already a bookmark. It's just naturally, automatically built into a document. So I'm going to click on top of document, OK, OK. Now it becomes a hyperlink, and I can control click and take me back to the top. So I hope you enjoy that. It's a really nice feature for any kind of document, not just the syllabus, and I think your students will appreciate that as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here to the File tab. Click on that so it drops down. See the column, the panel over here? I'm going to click on Info. It's already selected, and I'm going to click on Prepare for Sharing or Check for Issues. So the Check for Issues button, notice when I click on it, a drop-down menu appears, and I'm going to select Check Accessibility. And notice that the accessibility checks. Let's see what it says. Repeated blank characters. Yes, I have lots of different things in the document that are probably not appropriate. I haven't really cleaned it up. And also I have check reading order of the table. So that's really nice. And then if I click on that, it says why fix. Tables used for layout should present information in a meaningful order from the first cell to the last. How to fix, and then it tells you some suggestions for fixing. So isn't that a nice feature that's built in? And I really appreciate you wanting to start to create accessible documents. One of the things that I hope this has helped you to understand is that accessibility is for all students. And whenever we're developing something and we have an opportunity to edit some of the past documents and materials that we've done, we want to keep this universal design in mind. This helps all students. So thank you again, and I look forward to seeing some of your documents that you've been working on.